Coming up on this week's edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, we'll look at the Eagles' first back-to-back wins of the season against Boston University and Army West Point. Jimmy Patsos stops by and joins the discussion, and we look forward to the game against Lehigh. It all starts right now. Welcome into AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, Dan Laing, alongside Coach Brennan, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Dan.
And it's been a Happy New Year for you because first time this year, back-to-back wins, so that's got to make you feel pretty good.
No, certainly, yeah. Just getting a road win, is always difficult. So it was a good Army team, so I was happy with, how we played and, just pulling out the victory at the end there.
You pulled the word steal. You used that word in post-game comments that you stole one on the road. Just talk about how tough it is in the Patriot League on the road to come away with a W.
Yeah, well, you look at the scores, not just this year, but every year. Anybody can beat anybody else at any given time. So, anytime you're on the road and you can get a win, it's huge. You got to try to steal a few on the road and then protect the home court.
And when you look at how you guys were able to do it, you were able to hold Army West Point scoreless in the last 3+, I think it was 3 minutes, 11 seconds, that you held Army without a point there to wrap up the game. That's got to be a good confidence booster.
Yeah, especially with this team, it seems like we work on something, and you only have a couple days, between each game, so you got to sort of attack the things that you think you're weak on at that moment. So it was mostly offense that we were working on going into the Army game. So we didn't do a ton of defense. So for them to, sort of remember their principles and stick to them and, do it throughout the game for the most part was encouraging to see. We did get lucky. They did get a couple open shots that they just happened to miss and, kids stepped out of bounds at the end. But sometimes you need that to go your way in games like this. But the effort, overall effort was excellent. I thought Gasparini, was probably had one of his better games of his career.
Yeah, you talk about Gasparini, and indeed, he had 19 points. That's a season high for him, and it's 2 off his career high of 21. He also pulled down 5 rebounds. What did you see from him in the game against Army that maybe you weren't seeing in other games?
Just a level of comfort and patience and maturity. So, it was his highest scoring game, but he was still, throwing it out and, sort of getting other people's shots and open looks. So for him to be able to do both is important. We throw the ball to him a ton because we have confidence in what he can do, but it's not just scoring. He's an excellent passer. He's unselfish. He sort of he hit Stacy cutting to the rim a couple times. He kicks it out for threes. So to be able to throw the ball to him and sort of rely on good decision making throughout the game. And he's just playing hard. He's going after offensive rebounds, so it's good to see him develop.
You say that there were some of the focuses, or the big focus was offense going into the game against Army. You guys scored 68 points, but what were a couple things that you were focusing on offensively that you saw translate from practice to the game?
It's just knowing your offense and sort of understanding, when your opportunities arise. Because we have good offensive players. Mm-hmm. They can shoot, they can score, they can, make plays. But there's a couple of them are still sort of getting, used to when those opportunities, come within our offense. So it's a work in progress right now, but they're getting better at it. They're working hard. So I'm, happy with our effort and. Just where everybody is on the team right now.
And, you look and you've talked about how close these games are. It was, an 8-point win against Army and a 4-point win against Boston University. That speaks to the margin of error can't be very large here in the Patriot League, at least here early on from what we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell these guys that, every single game it seems like it's 68-64 or 68-65, something like that. Mm-hmm. And you just want to be on the top end of it. So it's, what you do throughout the game. You got to come out strong, and you got to be consistent throughout the game. And when shots aren't falling, you still got to play. You got to make extra plays. Connor, the last couple games has gotten a couple offensive rebounds that have just, been huge, and were the difference between potentially winning or losing. So you got to do all those little things in addition to executing and defending and doing all the things you practice.
How big has he been coming in and really grasping what you guys are doing, the scheme?
Well, yeah, he can make shots. He's a competitor. He's got good instincts for the game. Hopefully he'll grasp things more as we go. But it's new for him too. So, and especially like your weapons are, Jameer, Jacob, Connor, Ben. Those are your like high power offensive guys, and they're all new and trying to figure things out. So their ability is shooting and scoring. All right, but they got to figure out, okay, well, when within the offense should I be thinking about it? But yeah, they've helped Saeed a ton just because people can't key on him. He can kick it out, and they can make plays.
I was going to say how much they've helped Saeed and how much he has helped them. How much has he taken on sort of a leadership role this year, even more so in helping out some of the other guys?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Saeed's been terrific. I think in years past, because Saeed feels he can, and he can get to the rim and do so much that he, would just sort of, say, leave it to me, guys. I'll do this. But he's been better at sort of, sticking with getting them shots and giving them confidence, even, late in the game. That's hard to do. It's hard to do when he knows he can make a play. But he's, he gets in there and he kicks it out, and it's allowing, Jameer and these, Connor and Jacob and all these other guys to make plays at the end and to contribute. And I mean, to be honest, Stacy had it. I was watching film, and just Stacy's been so consistent and great too. It's he's another guy that's between him, Mark, and Saeed, reliable guys. That you're supposed to have. In order to be good in the league, older guys that you can rely on.
Yeah, Stacy's really stepped up this year and really brought a lot of energy and a lot of IQ to the floor.
Yeah, well, he's always in the right spot. He does so many different things. He defends, he rebounds. He deflects passes, he gets steals. He knows where he's supposed to be. He's taking open shots. Probably, we need him to be a little more aggressive, but again, it's something that you just gotta continue to work out and get comfortable with.
Now, we've talked about Saeed. He had the huge game against BU, almost had the triple-double, had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists in the game against the Terriers, had another double-digit scoring game against Army. Now he sits 9th all-time on the Patriot League scoring list, passing Adonal Foyle, who was the first from the Patriot League to get to the NBA. What has Saeed meant to this conference?
He's had a terrific career, and especially for a guy, who's getting other people involved. For him to score that many points just says what kind of player he is. How impactful he can be. But it's not just the points; it's all the other stuff that you just mentioned. He's close to triple doubles, a lot of games throughout his career. So it just says, how much he does, when he's on the court. We need him to, running around defending Tommy Funk the whole game and getting rebounds and, getting other people's shots. And, it's a lot. It's a lot, and he's able to handle it. He's done a great job.
Indeed he has. Time for our first time out here on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan. When we continue, Jimmy Patsos joins the discussion. The former Siena Loyola Maryland coach will stop by. He's now one of my broadcast partners. We'll talk to him next. Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. We're now joined by Jimmy Patsos, one of my broadcast partners this year. Thanks for taking some time.
Happy to be here. You kidding me? Coming off some big wins. time to come back.
Nice to have you on the broadcast. And, with you making a switch from coaching into broadcasting, when did you first realize that broadcasting was kind of a cool angle?
It's funny, great question. I grew up in Boston when Boston had the greatest Bob Ryan, Peter Gammons, Will McDonough. The best sports writers were in Boston. I used to read the Globe. I went to school. Then I come to Washington. Tony Kornheiser. They're all still writing. Michael Wilbon. In other words, I was into the media. I'm a big paper reader. The George Michael Sports Machine, which ended up basically was as big as ESPN at the time.
Yep.
I've always loved the media. And when I was at Loyola, I would always go to the stations to do TV specials, or I'd fill in, or if I did radio, instead of doing a radio call-in, I would go to the station. By the way, then you get 2 segments because you're there. They feel bad for you. Then up in Albany was a big media market. It's capital of New York. So I started doing stuff, and then kind of had your own shows. But I was TV's a little different. I was nervous. Radio, they have the cough button, or they can, no one really sees you. So it's been a fascinating thing. I work for Under Armour with Kevin Plank, who I've known forever, and I got into that consulting business. I do the pros, college, grassroots. I'm all over the place, so I kind of try to get that into basketball.
Busy schedule.
It's fun. I've never worked a day in my life. I'm very lucky that I have the opportunity to do this. NBC Washington, I met them. These guys are really cool, so I do the pre and post game with Chris Miller. And American U, when I ran into you, luckily one night, and I got to interview here. And David's really great. Aldridge, he's one of the biggest NBA writers and has done TV and everything. So to fill in for you guys or work with you, despite being a Miami grad, is fantastic. But the media part of American University, I don't think people know. Gary Williams, Hall of Famer. Fran Dunphy, who coached forever, came from here. I was with Ed Tapscott, who works in the NBA for 30 years, coached here. Chris Nockey, Gordon Austin. Tom Young, who took Rutgers to an undefeated season, started here. Jimmy Lynam, who worked for the Sixers. People don't know sometimes. The younger generation doesn't know what a great basketball school American University is, whether it's Kermit Washington and the whole thing. I was honored to be here. That's why I jumped at the chance to do American University games, plus, Washington, D.C., and I think one of the top teams in the Patriot League this year.
You talk about Gary Williams. You worked with him on his staff at Maryland. You won a national title with him over with the Terps. What was that like?
Fantastic. I mean, the reason I worked for Gary Williams is I didn't get the job at American University. Chris Nockey didn't hire me. He hired Bruce Kelly. He said, but Gary Williams has a non-paid position. That's back when coaching, you didn't care. You'd go anywhere to coach. I'd played at Catholic U. Knew Ed Tapscott. Chris Nockey had just got the job because we had played here. Ed Tapscott had a lot to do with me, getting into coaching and liking it because I played for Jack Bruin with Mike Lonigan. This whole connection of Catholic U to Howard U to Georgetown to GW, and American was a little epicenter of that. Media-wise, basketball-wise, power in D.C., I come here and interview. Chris Nockey says I don't have a job because see Gary Williams. Of course, I say, I don't need any money. He said, you're hired. Because I was tending bar in Georgetown. I didn't serve any American U kids, maybe a few. This is a different era. This is before cell phones and everything, so you had to actually go there and meet people and network. And working in Georgetown in the restaurant industry allowed me to meet so many people that have gone on in all different kinds of things, whether it's James Brown from CBS, James Brown coming into your restaurant. That's what a powerful thing being in the Washington, D.C. area is. Going to Maryland was a natural opportunity for me. I coached Carroll High School. I coached this guy, Lawrence Moten, scored 2,000 points at Syracuse. Charlie Harrison scored 1,000 points at Wake Forest. I also coached Jay Butler, who's, you look back, in other words, he was an undersized point guard that we got to go to Virginia Union. He's now the head coach at Virginia Union. That's why you get in coaching. I go with Gary. We're not any good. Carolina had won the national title. Duke was about to win the national title, and Georgetown was the #1 seller of merchandise gear in the world for college school because of Ewing to the Allen Iverson. So we're at Maryland trying to build a program. We have Georgetown over our shoulder, a media mogul with John Thompson and a great coach, and Carolina and Duke in your league. I'm like, we're never going to win. How are we going to catch these guys? Gary Williams. The drive Gary Williams had that he learned when he was at American U, there was no gymnasium. They went to Fort Myer in Virginia to play games. That teaches you to deal with what you have. That's one of the fun things about American U. The lore and the history is this is not they did more with less. At Maryland, we had to figure stuff out. We got good. Walt Williams saved our program. Then we got Joe Smith and Keith Booth. Then Steve Francis came. Juan Dixon, Steve Blake. Don't ever forget the original definition of a coach in Webster's Dictionary. Carriage drawn by horses. You better have players. That's why I used to laugh. People say Gary couldn't recruit. Really? He got Joe Smith, he got Steve Francis, he got Juan Dixon, he got Walt Williams to stay because Walt could have gone anywhere in the country. I don't know if you guys know Walt, great guy. Walt Williams, class act.
He's a broadcaster.
Yes, he works for NBC Washington, and he does the Terps games with Johnny Holiday and Chris Nockey. So, anyways, to be part of this, coming from that family tree, Gary's in the Hall of Fame here. American University was referenced like daily at the Maryland basketball program. I don't want any excuses. We didn't have a gym in American U. We had Boo Bowers. We had Gordon Austin, a Jersey point guard that played for 4 years, and these are the numbers. We ran, we pressed. It gave you hope that we had enough with Cole Fieldhouse and enough with this area to get players, and then you could turn it around. And then, the Final Four to winning it all, you need a little bit of luck there. So we got a little lucky there, but it was a good run. And then my last year, 2004, we won the ACC tournament with DJ Strawberry and those guys. We won the ACC tournament. My last game was at Terp. We lost to Syracuse by 1. Boeheim, luckiest coach ever. His 3 from falling out of bounds goes in, and our layup misses. Because you got to have a little luck in coaching. But that's how we built Maryland into a national power, and Gary Williams was the lead dog on that sled every day.
Now you talk about networking, and that's something that obviously has paid off really well for you. You're now working with Under Armour brand ambassador. You have your polo shirt with the there you are. There's the Under Armour thing.
Kevin Plank, who's a DC guy.
At American University is an Under Armour school. Talk about your job as a brand ambassador for Under Armour.
Yeah, they call that's I'm the guy that shows up in the living room. That's what brand ambassador means. It means I'm the guy on the road. Not everybody can work corporate hours. I'm not a morning guy. Shocker. Anyways, I go to games. I've gone to Seton Hall, Wisconsin, Notre Dame, UCLA, to pro games, to the Garden to see guys because we have pros. We have Joel Embiid and Steph Curry's out this year. But we go around, go to games, then we got to see the grassroots. It's all connected, Can the AAUs in our high schools? We have St. John's, St. Francis. We have IMG Academy. So it's kind of it's a fun job. Let's not get this out of control here.
Sure.
But it's a lot of traveling. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot more like you go in at night and see the coaches before, because you're on the road with Brennan. I mean, you do the men's, women's volleyball. Miami, when you won the national title in baseball, that counts for a lot.
Yeah.
You saw there's a whole bunch of other sides to this. I'm like that, Dan. I'm in the background. Hey, you guys need anything? How are the shoes? How's everything? Plus, it's moral support. Just how's it going? Bruce Pearl's a really good character. Auburn, they're one of the top teams in the country now. They went to the Final Four. Texas Tech go to Lubbock. Chris Beard's culture is probably the best I've seen at merging the new with the old. Still tough work for Bobby Knight. Hey, you can't do all that stuff. This works. But I'm very fortunate. So that part of my job is to just connect all the dots. Who can be a good pro? What's coming out of the Patriot League? We have 6 schools. We have Loyola, Navy, and American down here. We have Colgate, the reigning champs. We have Boston U, and we have Lehigh. So you get to meet Matt Langle. And when the coaches win, I'll give you a little insight. When the coaches win their conference, go to the NCAA, then they get to come on the coaches trip. And we also merge with football. So it's great being around the sport. The Currys and the Embiids are different guys. But we've, some smaller guys that love our stuff. But team sports and college stuff is where we'll always be. Clearly, we have the Terps. I'm trying to leave them out because Kevin Plank went there. But this is a thing where we're trying to help kids, and we don't just do basketball. We do every sport. So it's a very interesting job. They've really evolved. This went from a company that started right down the street at Kevin Plank's grandmother's house to a global thing. We grew fast, and so they need people that can just go out and make sure that the kids, they're not kids, they're young men and women, are happy wearing our brand. Are they getting what they need? And it's been a very interesting learning curve, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Matt Langle, of course, the coach at Colgate, and what he has done, the reigning champs. Let's talk a little bit about the Patriot League this year and sort of what you're seeing. Obviously, it's early in conference play, but what you're seeing from the PL.
Yeah, it's a good question. And besides, I have American U winning the title in Hamilton, New York against Colgate, because the Patriot League's interesting because from a brand standpoint and also a college standpoint, you get to have the games at your home arena, which is really, you have a couple days in between. A lot of tournaments are 3 games in one neutral place, winner take all. It's tougher for the fans. This is really college environment. Kevin Plank, my boss, loves the Patriot League. We have Yale and the Ivy League. It's not just because they're academic schools. It's a little old school, old-timey feel. Mm-hmm. Langle's the champ. They got wrapped. They got transferred from Northwestern, who went there. BU, I saw them beat South Carolina, one of our schools down there. But I have American U. Navy's a little bit of a surprise. Ed DeChellis has done a good job. Went to a Navy football game. So that's a really interesting experience. Go to Navy's practice, then basketball practice, and go to football. This is all like tied into what I do. Navy's a surprise. Ed DeChellis can really coach. I think American U has the best 5 or 6 guys. It's whether he can get another bench player. Gasparini playing really well is great. I mean, you got Saeed, you got the best player. Jameer's learning to go. I'm a big Stacy guy, Daytona Beach guy, call him. Does a lot of little intangibles. Sometimes he's undersized at the higher level. In the schedule, you played Stony Brook and Georgetown and really good schools in their respective leagues. That's going to pay off now. But Gasparini is the X factor to me, because he can match up, and Colgate's not that deep either. Joe Jones and BU have a really talented team. They seem up and down. Bucknell's the reigning champ for 15 years in this league. They've been the powerhouse. This might be a little downturn. I see their talent level a little lower than they've had it before. Nate can coach, but there's no more Zach Thomas. There's some guys gone. Loyola has a new coach, Tavares Hardy, who's in his second year. They have Costeca, one of the best players in the league. I've seen Loyola practice and play too a few times because I live in Baltimore. The Patriot League's sort of wide open, and Colgate's the champ, but they're not that deep. They have 6 or 7 players. American U has 6 or 7 players. I like backcourts. When you have the best guard, Saeed's the best guard. When you have Nelson, you have a chance. They're going to have to go through the road, get a good seed. My big thing in the Patriot League is this. Don't come in 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th because you got to play an extra game.
Right.
It's just like the Ravens have a huge chance. Yeah, I'm going on Saturday night. Because you have to play one less game in the NFL. If you have to play 3 games instead of 2, it's harder. If you're 1 through 6 in the Patriot League, 7 through 10 have to play an extra game. So you're already in advantage. Then can you get the home game? And I know not last year Navy came in and upset American, but can you get the home game? Can you hold home serve? Now it's 4 games. Go from there. But it's going to go through Hamilton. I know it's only early, but they're 3-0. But from what I've seen, it's going to go through Matt Langle and Hamilton.
Yeah. Before I let you go, your thoughts, you talked about him a little bit, but Saeed Nelson and what you have seen from Saeed, now 9th on the all-time scoring list in the Patriot League.
Yeah, I mean, he's an unbelievable player. Sometimes it's I thought early a little bit he might have been pressing, maybe, and it's tough. And by the way, it's different when you have a total bullseye on your back, like Patriot League preseason player of the year.
Yep.
You're not slipping by the scouting report. It's like, stop Nelson and we win. That's tougher to adjust to, especially as a senior. I think he's flowing a little bit better now. Played really well for a half against Georgetown, who's, that's Georgetown's as good, as high level as you can get. Really good player. Want to see if he can get him through the tournament thing. And he'll be an NBA king, in my opinion, because I do NBA stuff too, because we jump around. He'll be in an NBA summer league situation, and then he'll go play overseas for a long time. But for now, he's got to focus on, if you can get American U to the tournament, you join that elite group of people to play in the NCAA. Clearly, he's going to go on the wall. Who's he going to catch? Boo Bowers? Is that it?
Yeah.
Can he catch him? It's going to be close.
It's going to be close.
But winning's another thing, and I think he's a tremendous kid, and him and Jameer being from Jersey, they click with Coach Brennan, and Coach Brennan's got the Princeton things takes a little while to click for everybody else, but Saeed, at least you can give him the ball at the end, and he competes on both ends. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to watch him, and it'll be fun. Still have plenty of games to broadcast.
I'm your February guy when David's not working. I'm your February guy. I'm here February, and then hopefully for the tournament run. But the team's playing well and beating BU here on a Sunday, and then going to Army, which is a hard place to win, and you got to get it rolling. And this is going to be a fun one to watch. All
right. Well, that's Jimmy Patsos right there. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Coach Brennan rejoins the conversation as we look forward to the game against Lehigh. Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan. And Coach, we just talked to Jimmy Patsos, who's now one of my broadcast partners this year. He comes out to a lot of practices with you guys. What's it been like having him around the team this season?
Yeah, it's been great. I didn't really know him, too well beforehand, but he's just, such a great, person. He's enthusiastic, he's supportive, and he's obviously been through it, so he knows what, this whole endeavor is all about. He knows, not just the basketball, the X's and the O's, but all the stuff behind the scenes, just coaching kids. So it's great to have him around the program, and he's constantly texting me. Even when he's not around, it's like, hey, great road win, or good luck in the next one. So it's just fun to have him around for sure.
Indeed. And now moving forward, you guys have the game against Lehigh, and the Mountain Hawks go up against Dr. Brett Reed. And Lehigh, not necessarily the team clicking on all cylinders like we've seen in the past. They have a much different looking roster this year than last year, but they're still a force to be reckoned with and one in the conversation when you talk about the better teams in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the tape that I've watched, they look like they're clicking pretty well. Jordan Cohn's one of the best guards in the league. He's been around. He's a savvy leader. Can make shots, make plays, always under control. Karnick is just a beast down low. Very athletic. He's not just big and strong, but he can, jump and move. So just those two guys. And then, Wilson, just the fact that he can make a shot and his athleticism and the other weapons around him. Fenton, their freshman's playing really well, and some other guys. So they have firepower, they play hard, they defend. So they're always a tough matchup.
What's going to be the biggest key for you guys going up against the Mountain Hawks?
Just doing the things that we work on. Just sort of sticking to our principles defensively, continuing to share the ball, having good practices leading up to the game, making sure that we're sort of getting better each day. I think that's probably the most important thing for any team in this league, is that you continually improve throughout the league play.
All right, Coach. Well, that will do it for this edition of AU Hoop Talk for Coach Brennan. For Coach, I'm Dan. We'll see you next time.